Yes, Manfred, I know. We've been broadcasting since November and the signal still hasn't gotten through. The revolutionaries have been jamming the transmission, but we've got to keep trying because Wait a minute, the feed is responding. We have audio, Manfred! Let me just make a few adjustments and I think I can bring the video up. Here we go. Good day, everyone. 'Tis I, the Blue Baron, defender of traditionalism. Fides Traditio Monarchia!
And I'm Manfred, his right-tailed hawk.
And we'd like to welcome you all to the pilot mini-series to my YouTube series.
Your YouTube series?
Yes, Manfred, my YouTube series. I came up with it, you're just my sidekick.
I'm nobody's sidekick. I want to be called an associate.
Manfred, you're a hawk. The fact that we can communicate doesn't change the fact that you're not legally a person. You're legally my pet.
I still like to be called something else.
In a minute, you'll be called my underling, just because I say so.
I'll take sidekick.
Good choice. Now, as I was saying, we'd like to welcome you to the prelude to my YouTube series. In my series, I'll be doing a great many things, but for this segment, Reactionary Reviews, we'll be reviewing films, cartoons, books, and other media, but doing it all with an air of traditionalism about. And since these are called reactionary reviews, I figured we'd start them off by educating people about something that today is often seen as reactionary: traditional 2D animation. Although today traditional animation is not seen nearly as much as it used to be, the fact is that for most of animation's history, it was its dominant form. Although often associated with Disney, traditional animation was once used by all animation studios and has been with us for over 100 years. With that in mind, we'd like to welcome you to Animation Antiquities, the prelude to our main series. In this pilot mini-series, we shall sift through animation history and separate the pearls from the sand to show you all the gems of traditional animation. Seeing as how this is a traditionalist review series, I wanted to start with some older animated films in order to see the first traditions of traditional animation. I thought to myself, when did traditional animation begin in film? And I then selected the earliest significant animation I could find.
Walt Disney's 1937 animated classic, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs?
No, think back a little further.
Walt Disney's 1928 short film, Steamboat Willie, featuring Mickey Mouse?
No, a little further back than that.
Felix the Cat?
No, even further back than that.
Gurry the Dinosaur?
You're getting close.
I don't know anything earlier than that.
Well, then I'll just get to the point. Today we're going to be looking at the first film done using traditional animation, French artist Émile Cohl's 1908 short film, Fantasmagorie. But before we can get to that, we'll have to look at something even earlier, the beginnings of stop-motion animation. Stop-motion animation originated with the discovery of the cinematic special effect known as substitution splicing, or the stop trick. French film director Georges Méliès claimed to have accidentally developed this technique when his camera accidentally broke down while shooting a bus driving by. When he had fixed the camera, a hearse happened to be passing by just as Méliès restarted rolling the film. His end result was that he had managed to make a bus transform into a hearse. The same trick had previously been used by Thomas Edison in the 1895 film The Execution of Mary Stuart, in order to simulate a decapitation using a mannequin. However, Méliès was the first to realize its full potential, as he discovered that by shooting one frame at a time and changing the image in between frames, he could create the illusion of movement. Thus, stop-motion animation was born. Georges Méliès's experimentation made possible the films of the first true animator, J. Stuart Blackton, who used modified versions of Méliès's early stop-motion animation techniques to make a series of blackboard drawings appear to move and reshape themselves in films such as The Enchanted Drawing of 1900 and Humorous Phases of Funny Faces in 1906, the latter of which is often considered the first true animated film.
So why are we looking at that?
Good question. You see, while it can be considered the first true animated film, it was not done using the techniques which would become known as hand-drawn or traditional animation, but rather using the techniques which would be used to create stop-motion animation, which ironically, despite being first, was never truly utilized until long afterwards. However, the pioneering of this early form of stop-motion animation allowed for French artist Émile Cohl to create his own film, Fantasmagorie, in 1908. The film largely consists of a stick figure moving about and encountering all manner of morphing objects, such as a wine bottle that transforms into a flower. There are also sections of live action where the animator's hands will enter the scene. The film was created by drawing each frame on paper and then shooting each frame onto negative film, which gave the picture a blackboard look. It was made up of 700 drawings, each of which was exposed twice, or animated on twos, leading to a running time of almost 2 minutes. It borrowed from J. Stuart Blackton the chalk line effect, filming black lines on white paper, then reversing the negative to make it look like white chalk on a black chalkboard. Despite its aesthetic similarity to the works of Mr. Blackton, the fact that it was done by shooting paper drawings directly onto film, rather than simply shooting a drawn-on chalkboard in real life, made Fantasmagorie the first animated film created using what came to be known as hand-drawn animation, or as I like to call it, traditional animation. The film is unlikely to impress many people today, as the animation itself is rather crude by modern standards, but back then the effects used were brand new and highly exotic. While it was true that the main focus being a stick figure did not lend itself to a high quality of animation, the key fact was that it was able to demonstrate the possibilities that animation provided. Because of this, Fantasmagorie, along with the works of Mr. Blackton, were able to inspire many other artists to begin experimenting with animation, allowing for works such as Little Nemo, Gertie the Dinosaur, and The Sinking of the Lusitania, which we will look at next time. I'm the Blue Baron, defender of traditionalism. God bless you all, and remember, Fides Traditio Monarchia. Good day. Oh, whoops. I'm out of practice.
That's a fail. Nice job, Emma.
Alright. In my series, I'll be doing a great many things, but for this segment, Reactionary Reviews, we'll be reviewing films, cartoons, books, and other media, but doing it all with an air of traditionalism about. And since these are called reactionary... Oh dear.
What?
The monocle fell out. Alright, hang on. Oh dear.
Don't forget, we didn't end up using the monocle for last time.
I know, but I didn't use the spirit gum this time, so I'll try it with the spirit gum. Just a moment.